What's going on, crypto community? Today I'm breaking down FET token, and this analysis is absolutely critical because we're sitting at levels that could determine the next major move for this asset. If you're holding FET or considering a position, you need to hear this breakdown. FET is currently trading around 75 cents, and we're positioned in what I call the decision zone. This is where the market is going to show us its hand, and the price action over the next few sessions will be absolutely crucial for determining direction. Here's what's happening right now. FET has been in a significant pullback, and we've retraced into a zone that historically has provided strong support. We're talking about the area between 64 cents and 58 cents. This is where major players typically step in and start accumulating. The fact that we're holding in this range is actually bullish from a structural standpoint. Looking at the current setup, we're dealing with extremely oversold conditions. The selling pressure has been intense, but that's often when the best opportunities present themselves. Markets have a tendency to snap back hard when they get this stretch to the downside, and FET is showing all the signs of being ready for that type of move. My expectations for the next 3 trading sessions are pretty clear. Initially, I'm looking for a bounce from these levels that could take us back up to 78 to 80 cents. That's roughly a 6 to 8% move, which sets the stage for what could come next. This isn't just wishful thinking, it's based on how these types of setups typically resolve. If we get that initial bounce and it holds above key levels, then I'm targeting the 82 to 86 cent area. This is where we start to get into more interesting territory because we'll be testing some significant resistance that's been capping this token for weeks. But here's where it gets really exciting. If FET can push through and hold above 85 cents, we could see an explosive move up to 90 to 95 cents. We're talking about a potential 25 to 30% gain from current levels. That's the kind of move that can really impact your portfolio in a meaningful way. Now let me give you the levels that matter most. On the support side, 64 cents and 80 cents is our first line of defense. This level has been tested multiple times recently, and so far it's holding firm. If we see any weakness here, the next support comes in at 61 cents, which aligns with a major structural area. The critical level that you absolutely must watch is 58 cents and 40 cents. If FET breaks below this area, it changes the entire narrative and suggests we could see a much deeper correction. However, based on current conditions, I don't expect we'll need to test this level. Moving to the upside, 78 cents represents our first meaningful resistance. This is where we might see some profit-taking from traders who've been waiting to get out at better levels. The next major hurdle is 85 cents, which has been a significant ceiling for this token. The big prize is 96 cents. Getting above this level and holding it would signal a potential trend change and open up much higher targets. I'm talking about potential moves toward $1.20 to $1.50 if momentum really picks up. From a volatility perspective, buckle up because FET is known for explosive moves. We're looking at potential daily swings of 15 to 25%, which creates incredible opportunities but also requires careful risk management. This isn't a token for the faint of heart. Here's my game plan, and this is exactly how I'm approaching this setup. If you're looking to establish a position, I'd wait for any dip back to the 64 to 68 cent range. That's where the risk-reward becomes extremely attractive. Your stop-loss would go below 58 cents because a break there fundamentally changes the thesis. For profit targets, I'd scale out at 78 cents, take more at 85 cents, and if we really get momentum, 90 to 95 cents is where I'd look to take the majority off the table. This approach lets you participate in the upside while managing downside risk. If you prefer confirmation before entering, wait for a break above 78 cents with strong volume. That would validate that the bounce is legitimate and we're starting a recovery phase. I'm seeing 2 primary scenarios playing out. The bullish case, which I assign about a 60% probability, involves bouncing from current levels and testing the resistance zones I outlined. The technical setup strongly suggests this is what should happen next. The bearish scenario carries about 40% probability. This would involve breaking below 64 cents and potentially seeing a move down to 58 cents or lower. While possible, The current oversold conditions make this the less likely outcome in my view. What makes this opportunity so compelling is the asymmetric risk profile. We're buying at a major support area with a clearly defined stop-loss level, while the upside potential is substantial. That's exactly the type of setup professional traders look for. The key thing to understand about FET is that when it moves fast. These AI and machine learning tokens can gap up significantly in short periods of time. If you're planning to trade this, make sure you're prepared to act quickly when the setup triggers. Looking at the broader picture, if we get this bounce and can reclaim key resistance levels, FET could be positioning for a much larger move over the coming weeks. Some projections suggest targets well above $1 if the momentum really builds. But let's be realistic about the risks. This is an extremely volatile asset, and the swings can be brutal in both directions. Position sizing is critical. Never risk more than you can afford to lose, especially with something that moves like FET. My base case expectation is for an initial bounce over the next few sessions, followed by a test of resistance levels and potentially a breakout higher. But I'm prepared for either scenario and have plans for both outcomes. The levels you need to watch are crystal clear: 64 cents for support, 78 and 85 cents for resistance, and 96 cents for the major breakout level. These prices will determine where FET heads next. Remember, successful trading is about managing risk and staying disciplined. Don't chase prices when they're extended, and always have a plan for both scenarios. The setup looks promising, but the market will ultimately decide. What's your take on FET at these levels? Are you seeing the bounce potential, or do you think we head lower first? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if this analysis helped you, smash that like button and subscribe for more crypto breakdowns. This is the type of setup that can really move the needle on your portfolio, so stay sharp.